This playthrough is rated T for teen.
Back to the Demon Shaft once again, and we're going to make some major progress today. Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Dark Cloud. In the last episode, we got about, like, was it 15 floors or something like that in the last episode down the Demon Shaft, and this time we're going to make it at least 20 floors if I recall. Yeah, some of the levels we get through pretty quickly, so, and I record about the same amount of time, like, I think it's like 52 plus minutes I've been doing per episode, and if you fast forward it, it gets down to 15. That is a lot of video to condense, but that's what happens when you fast forward it. So right now, from what I learned off screen, I guess the sections of the Demon Shaft every 20 levels is like a element zone or something like that, so I think this one's supposed to be like the water zone, for example, and I think the first area was like the fire zone. I could be wrong. I didn't look up every single little detail. I just noticed that there were some, when I was looking up some descriptions on stuff that they called in the Thunder Zone, for example, like on the wiki, or which is the next section, next 20 levels. Yeah, I think I get killed quite a few times in this recording too. Another case of me just kind of just letting things play as they lie. So yeah, there's another one where I just get well, actually, I went through most of the level before I got that one. Never mind. But there are a few levels that we go through it like really fast. Like we get the key almost halfway through, and then we go right back without even having to go through like a silver key door or anything like that. Yeah, I found some nice water there. We were pretty low, but yeah, there's almost got killed here because of the Gemron or Gemron. I guess they're technically Gemrons, not Gemrons, because I mean, they're gem dragons basically, is what they're doing to attack us. And yeah, this level, the water section, I guess you want to call it, or whatever, it tended to make me switch elements quite more often. Although I guess the next area, the Thunder Zone, kind of does that too. So I guess, well, I guess that's this whole dungeon, is that in the previous dungeon you didn't have to shift attributes that much. At least I didn't notice it. That I had to do it very often, even by the end of the game. But here in the Demon Shaft, quite a few monsters require me to shift elements if I want to kill them fast enough. Anyway, if not, I have to take forever. So sometimes it's worth just swapping out the elements. So until you head out here. So man, good. Yeah, this is when I was trying to figure out like if this is a mimic floor or something like that. So but nope, we got the key before I finish the. It's always a good floor when you can, don't have to explore the whole thing, and you get the end key to get out of there. The Black Knight emblem. Yeah, I'm trying to. Unfortunately, I'm like, after playing through this, I messed up here. I was making her do. Oh, here we go. Yeah, new area, the Thunder Zone. Take us to the Thunder Zone. Da, 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 I'm flying high towards the Thunder Zone. I don't know. That sounds like it could have been right. Interesting enough, I think the movie that I remember that from, I think they're supposed to be making a sequel for it. At least by the time of this recording, it hasn't come out yet. They've been working on it for like 4 or 5 years or something like that. So I don't know if I'll watch it. I wasn't the biggest fan of Top Gun, but I liked bits and pieces of it anyway. But I don't know. Some movies I really like, and some movies that are considered classics, I'm just like, I like the parody more. Hot Shots, and Hot Shots Part 2. That was when the parody movies were still good. But yeah, the big thing about the Thunder Zone, well, a lot of big things about the next section, is that basically new enemy repeats. So repeats from older dungeons, but they put them all together, like the Gamrons, which we fought, are now weak to wind instead of another elemental. We fight captains. There's cave bats now. Nice to fight cave bats because most times we can hit them one hit. So that's a nice little feature right there. Yeah, I think this is where I had to start swapping multiple different elements, because the gyros or whatever are weak to lightning, if I remember. Yeah, we got the emblem pretty quick here. I just ran out of water too. There's actually a few times where I almost ran out of water, but I find water. There was one level though I found water, or I was about out of water. I was like, I better use an item, and then like the next room over, I find water. I'm like, ah. Oh yeah, I fight some Rasher Dashers and those Pra shoes or Prey Jews or whatever you want to call them. Weirdly enough, they still block when I follow them on this section, but they didn't block as much, so they weren't as annoying as they should be. Because usually when I fight them, I swear they block like all the time. Yeah, and it's just an annoying little feature of theirs. But I guess you have to have enemies defend. They just can't be hit all the time. There's a Mimic 4 where they pop up all the time. Got like gosh darn Jack-in-the-Boxes. But the spades are, we've seen that before. And the goals from Sun and Moon Temple. Yeah, even when I fight them, I just decide not to mess with their weakness and hit them, because you can pretty much cut. Weirdly enough, with those golems, the golden golems, if you hit them right, it almost like stun. Well, not. Oh, there's a new enemy, Bishop Q. They're weak to holy. They're magical types, I believe, and they don't drop anything, and you can't steal anything from them. So don't worry about it. I think I get killed by one of them because when they raise their arm down to shoot and throw them down, they shoot like an element at you. It's like fire and holy, and I think holy is the one that could possibly stun you, I believe, anyway. Or no, I guess it'd be the ice one because it freezes you, right? So, but anyway, yeah, I think Bishop Q is the only new enemy of this section too. Everything else is obviously repeats, and the Gamron's obviously a repeat, but different element or whatever. But at least, even though the music doesn't really change too much, but at least the lighting looks different. So I'm like, at least there's that. So yeah, not much happens in between these floors. If I like the next couple floors, if I remember correctly, just same old, nothing new. No fuss, no muss. That's fine. I got some premium. Yeah, rather Dashers can drop premium chicken, baby. Yeah, I was checking there to see if I. It's weird. I was checking to see if I had the key, and I was like, oh, I don't. I went further and then found it. Oh yeah, there was my break for the night. So yeah, I didn't take as many breaks because I had so much extra inventory thing. But the big thing I did actually between this break is I actually finally decided to maximize Ruby's weapon to fight regular dudes. Now that I wasn't fighting those white fangs, now I could just use her exclusively for the most part. I upgraded the ancient sword that I found earlier in the dungeon with the stop ability. I decided to give that to Ruby, and then I also gave her I also upgraded the 5 or 6 foot nail or whatever that Gaga has. I put that to level 5 and then system broke it and then put it on Ruby's weapon as well, because I had the critical ability. So now my weapon at the time has quench, steal, big bucks, stop, and critical, which means there's a chance she could make the character just stop moving. There's also a chance she could just straight up one-shot the guy. So most of the time I've noticed stop works more often than critical, though. I think critical, I saw critical work like once or twice during this run when I finally equipped it, and it was like on one of the golems. I think it was like on a Brother Q maybe, but that was pretty much it. So that seems to be a low activator, or maybe it's fighting for tier. Maybe there's a tier list, or there's like a activation system set up on in the game where certain abilities activate more often than others, or if they're both on the same weapon, then one tends to activate before the other. Because obviously you probably want critical to be a low end one, because you don't want to just one shot every monster in the cave or in the area. Oh yeah, there's the time I got killed because I got hit with the freeze ability or whatever. The holy elemental. So yeah, putting a stop on in critical actually did make things a little bit faster, actually, especially stop it, because then they just stop moving, so you can just keep wailing on them, so you don't have to worry about dodging them. I mean, not that I really had to worry too much about it before, but like when it happened to Bishop Q's helps a lot, since they don't have to keep hitting me with magic, because they could possibly freeze me or get a couple of lucky shots in. I found a king mimic there. Those don't pop up too often, so I almost forget about them some of the times. Yep, come on, find that key. Yeah, I just had to go through it a couple times. Yeah, 51. Not much really to add here, really. Yeah, the demon shaft kind of just, other than enemy changes, like, there's really not much for me to say or do. It's like, it's basically the same thing, just slightly different from the randomization. So that's kind of why it's a boring in-game or you know, penultimate dungeon. I don't know why I keep saying penultimate, because the penultimate dungeon is the dungeon before the main dungeon. It's, you know, for being the ultimate dungeon, it's really not much to it, and there isn't any story. Well, there's technically a story element, I guess, like when you fight the boss, but you only, I mean, there's nothing really said. It's only said if you choose to use Steve, which is Zhao's weapon for those who forgot, because he says commentary during the fight, and he has some lines that indicate maybe there's something special about him tied into the main character. But I guess I should talk about that. I'll probably bring it up again when we actually fight the boss. It'll probably be a couple episodes till we do that. But that's really it. Like, there's nothing else that really comes about it. I kind of wish there had been maybe not limited, maybe some limited dungeons with like some dialogue from the characters or something like that, or I don't know. It just seems like this is tacked on, really, just to, I don't know, maybe like test the player. I mean, it's supposed to be a reward for beating the game, so you go like, oh, here's an ultimate dungeon, and but for me, usually most of the time, like ultimate dungeons or ultimate things after you get the game is usually not worth it, because I've already beaten the game, and the reason you might play them is to max out your stats and then go back to fight the boss again and just see how awesome you are. There's only a couple exceptions where doing the ultimate dungeon actually changes something in the final boss, and I think that's like Star Ocean 2. There might be a couple others, but in that game, when you if you beat the final boss, if you beat the secret dungeon, the final boss becomes like 10 times harder or something like that, which he's still easier than technically the boss of the secret dungeon, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Although there's another way to make him hard too. There's like I think you have to replay the game twice to get that anyway, but there's a question you get asked at some point during the game, and it makes him harder too. But yeah, doing the secret dungeon also affects his difficulty too, if I recall. That was a fun game. I need to play that maybe one day. I don't know, maybe people are interested in a Star Ocean game, but I'd have to go with the first one. But the problem is deciding which version. Do I play the like, if I play Star Ocean 1, do I play the SNES version that's translated? Do I play the PlayStation 1 that I got in America, which has its, or no, do I play the PSP one, which was the remake, or do I play like, or do I play like another redone version of it, which like the Switch version or something like that? But I don't know. The first time I played Star Ocean 1 was, I did play it on emulation, but I didn't really get through the whole game until I played the PSP one. But oh yeah, we get the G Crusher weapon for, I just wanted to show like what it looked like. Oh yeah, I think I showed off earlier like a ring that we got, like the destruction ring or demon ring, but I didn't really talk about it during the commentary because it really wasn't much to it. So, but maybe unfortunately you'd have to slow down to see it. But I think that's it for this floor, so I'm gonna leave here. So yep, head to the end. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.